Have you ever had to outrun a bear?
You just need to outrun your friend.
That's exactly it. They were hiring like gangbusters. So what I realized was I don't need to outrun the bear. I don't need to outperform everyone in sales. I just need to be better than the person next to me.
This week's guest is Rob Durant, who, Rob, you describe yourself as a teacher at your core, but sales TV is your podcast, is the thing. Like everything you do is, I don't want to say centered around sales because it's titled as sales. Is that the right way? But it's centered around like the service and the people aspect, but it's titled as sales. Does that seem accurate?
That would be a good description. Yes. What we do is we present content for sales professionals that takes them beyond just the mere execution of a transaction. We look at the bigger picture, and ultimately we try and help, whatever that help might look like.
Oh, that's well put, because there's as many different approaches as there are salespeople on the planet. And it's funny. My dad taught college for a number of years, and he taught an engineering program, and he'd always ask people, how many of you guys want to be salespeople? And everyone in the class is looking around like, am I in the wrong class? I thought this was an engineering class. And he's like, look, everyone at some point in their life needs to be a salesperson. When did you, I heard a big part of your story. We actually met at Higher Ed PodCon, and you were a speaker there, and you did a great job, by the way. You gave a little bit of your story about how, like, you kind of, I don't want to say stumbled into sales, but you figured out what sales was in a weird way. Can you give me the Cliff's Notes version of that?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I was tricked into my first sales job. Go figure.
As many of us are.
Well, exactly. I was a customer service person at my core. I had been taught by the Walt Disney Company, which was the company that literally invented the field of customer service. And I had worked there for about a decade. When I moved back to my hometown area, the greater Boston area, I applied for a job as a customer service representative with the big phone company. 6 weeks of interviews, batteries of tests. I finally get the call from HR, Rob, we'd like to hire you as a customer service representative. Yes, but please know, Rob, there is a sales quota with this role. No, you've got to be kidding me. What kind of job hides this until the end? The kind of job that isn't really proud of being a salesperson.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And I wasn't particularly proud of being a salesperson either, but I needed the job. So I swallowed hard and I took the job. But I was terrified. What am I going to do? I've never had a sales job. I've avoided sales jobs. The only reason we even need customer service is because sales screwed up somewhere.
It's always the salesman's fault.
So what I realized was I need to keep this job. Have you ever had to outrun a bear?
You just need to outrun your friend.
That's exactly it. They were hiring like gangbusters. So what I realized was I don't need to outrun the bear. I don't need to outperform everyone in sales. I just need to be better than the person next to me. Well, how do I do that? That's when I leaned into my customer service background. And that's when I stumbled upon the key to success in sales. There's not a lot of difference between outstanding salespeople and adequate customer service representatives.
Makes sense.
Adequate customer service, you have to do three things and you have to do them well. Table stakes. You have to ask questions, you have to uncover the root cause issue, and you have to present solutions. so that your customer can make an informed decision. Outstanding salespeople do four things. They ask questions, they uncover the root cause issue, they present solutions. There's just one more thing that outstanding salespeople do that most customer service people cannot bring themselves to do. Care to guess?
I would believe that would be ask for the sale.
That's exactly it. I'm not talking about overcoming objections. I'm not talking about soft closes. I'm not talking about any advanced sales techniques. I'm just saying, you and I have discussed this. We've determined the best path forward is this. Now, this best path forward does come with a price, but because it solves your problem, you are willing to pay that price and then some if that problem were to be solved. But me as a customer service representative, I want to provide outstanding customer service. I end up personalizing this, not even realizing it. I can't afford this, therefore you can't afford this. Therefore, to provide you with outstanding service, I won't even offer it to you.
Makes sense. There's the hole.
Right. And when I walk in front of an audience of customer service representatives, because I have from time to time been asked to help them sell, and I start with, you are not helping customers. I don't give them any more context than that.
That hurts.
Oh my gosh, that hurts. Because a customer service person is in that role because all they've ever wanted to do is help. And I start with, you're not helping. One of two things happens. One, they get up and walk out.
I was just going to say they're going to leave.
Yeah, which doesn't happen because they've been mandated to be here.
Right.
Or two, they sit up and listen. Well, what do you mean by that? And I tell them exactly that. We don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't steal. And a lie by omission is still a lie. But if we're speaking with adults and we're providing them with all of the information they need to make an informed decision, how dare we not allow them to make the decision for themselves? I'm not telling you that you have to push hard on a sale. I am not telling you you have to overcome objections. Okay is not overcoming an objection, but it's perfectly fine for customer service people. Sure. Do you want this? No? Okay. Perfectly fine. In sales, we're going to talk to you a little bit differently about closing techniques and so on, but just that, let's make sure we're doing everything we can to help them solve their problem. Let's not put our hands in their wallets or over their wallets, preventing them from spending.
Sure. I love that. So, you know what question that's going to lead me to? How in the hell does this lead to a podcast?
I love that question because I've interviewed for podcasts, I've interviewed for jobs, I've talked with people, and every once in a while I get the question, which is, Rob, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Famous interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I have the standard answer now. My standard answer is, I don't answer that question anymore. Because 5 years ago, if you asked me where I saw myself in 5 years, this would not be the answer.
I love that. I love that. Why take a random guess?
Yeah, right. However, what I can tell you is, as I look back 5 years, and I look 5 years before that and before that, there is a common thread that's woven throughout, even though it's quite an eclectic background. That thread for me is helping, teaching. And that's why I say I'm a teacher at my core. In terms of podcasting, my friends and I were developing a LinkedIn Live. We were one of the first to get access to LinkedIn Live. And we were also teaching people about social selling. Now, these days, when people hear about social selling, they think that's the old LinkedIn connected pitch.
Right.
No, we did not promote the pitch slap. Well, gotcha.
I love it. Love it.
What we promoted was the connect and connect. And we also wanted to make sure that the clients that we were working with understood that we were keeping abreast of the latest technologies, practices, and so on. So getting that early access to LinkedIn Live, we said we should produce a show. And we ended up producing a weekly broadcast, the digital download. To this day, it is still the longest running weekly business talk show on LinkedIn Live.
That's amazing. And congratulations on that. That's very, very cool, because there's so many people. We've talked with people about pod fade all the time. And obviously LinkedIn Live could be the same exact thing. It's, if I remember correctly, last time I looked, 86% of 86% of podcasts and shows don't make it past episode 15.
Right.
You guys are, I'm pretty sure, well past 15.
Yes, we have several hundred in the books now. Yes.
So 15 times, just move the decimal point, and then maybe add a few more, and you're in good shape. What was to talk about that? What was the strategic decision to say, look, we're going to do LinkedIn Live, and we're then going to strip out the audio and launch that separately? Because you guys, I mean, I found that on there. Is that is what you guys are doing? What was the decision to do that?
I love the fact that you asked what was the strategic decision, as though there was strategy behind it. A lot of stuff that we did with that one was, let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
I love that.
So
you have to do that sometimes.
Exactly. Really, the impetus behind that was the software we were using to broadcast allowed me to download a video. It also allowed me to download audio only. And me being curious, I said, well, what can I do with that? Oh, and so that was just another touch point for me to learn. And that was the whole idea behind that particular show. Let's just learn so that we can share with our clients how it's done. All of that, about a year, 2 years down the road, led to the opportunity that I'm pursuing these days, which is Sales TV Live.
Makes sense.
And many of the things that I have learned by being the producer of the digital download, I have simply mapped over to our latest iteration. And I'm still learning. I'm still evolving. I'm still taking it as a live show, stripping the audio for the podcast. And what I've realized is, because we also simulcast to YouTube, which we were doing pretty much as an afterthought there, oh my gosh, that's yet one more opportunity to do so much more. So everything that I've learned before is now compiled with things that I'm learning today, and all at the same time working with that ideal target audience for me, which is those who are in sales that want to do more than just close one more deal. Those who are in sales that want to further their profession, not just stay put at a job.
I love that. That's a great take on that, because there are so many salespeople that are just out going through the motions and going out and eating the poop sandwich, and then going to the next person eating that poop sandwich, until finally they find someone that's like, hey, here's a steak.
Yeah.
Whereas you can, with that coaching and those other items, it makes it so maybe it's not a poop sandwich. Maybe it's just a slice of bread. It may not be the steak, but they get that instead. I truly like that. You did mention how there's the target audience to that. And with that, like, what has been I mean, you're looking to spotlight, I mean, just different voices that are going to help salespeople and help them learn, grow, get better at what they do, and just overall become more proficient and love what they do is the other piece that I like to it, that you kind of cover with that. What's been the business impact that the podcast has had for you? I mean, have you seen direct impacts? I mean, obviously you were brought in to speak. I mean, a big part of that was obviously the podcast.
Right.
Where's been some of where have you seen some of the direct results from doing the podcast?
Sure. Oh, so many places. And things that I certainly could not have anticipated. Speaking at Higher Ed PodCon, just being one of them. The opportunity with the Institute of Sales Professionals and working through that came about simply because I had been working with the digital download. Some of the people there were interested in starting one for sales TV. And then one thing begets another there. I love podcasting for the doors that it opens for me. Knock, knock, knock. Do you want to spend 15 minutes talking with me? Who the heck are you? Knock, knock, knock. Do you want to spend 15 minutes talking about you on a podcast? Hell yeah. They're beating down the door for that. And then they get to know you, and that's where additional opportunities come about. One of the things I teach my students I teach marketing at Northeastern University. I tell them the secret to success in life. And here's the thing.
All ears.
They believe somebody knows what the secret to success in life is. So I still have a captive audience. We both know there is no such thing, but
Correct.
There are things that can help. And I tell them the secret to success in life is not simply about what you know. Now, imagine this. I've got a room full of diligent students at a competitive university who for the past 15 plus years of their life have done nothing other than study for the test. And I just told them, it's not about what you know. I'm really good at losing my audience early on, I guess, because I tell customer service people they're doing a terrible job. Yeah.
I believe that's part of your magic is you piss people off in the first 30 seconds and then you spend the rest of the time bringing them back, which I've been known to do the same thing. I love that approach.
So I've either got their attention or they were checked out anyway.
Sure.
I go on to tell them, well, rest assured, success in life is not just about who you know, which is a little bit reassuring because, if I tell them it's not about what you know, oh, you're going to say, it's the good old boys network, it's nepotism, it's who you know. No, because you could know everybody.
Sure.
But if they know you know nothing, are you someone worth knowing?
Ooh, I like that one.
Success in life is about who knows you for what you want to be known for.
That's beautiful. I love it.
What that means is your goal is to have more and more people know you for what you want to be known for. And there's a hack to that.
I believe that's podcasting.
I say a hack, but it's really not. Well, podcasting, yes.
That's going to be my version of it.
The hack to that is you start by getting to know people for what they want to be known for. And that's podcasting. When you get to know them for what they want to be known for, when they feel heard, when they feel understood, then they will reciprocate. Then they know you for what you want to be known for. And they may never have need for what you are selling. But on that occasion when they do, you're the one in their mental Rolodex that they go through and I'm calling him.
Sure.
Or more likely, when they encounter somebody else who has need for what you offer. There's only one person in their mental Rolodex or their cell phone or their, well, some of us are old enough that we have physical Rolodex. Yeah. And that is the key. Because ultimately, you know, we talk about competition and differentiation. In fact, my marketing class this morning, we were just talking about differentiation. There isn't a lot of difference between solutions out there, whatever that solution may be. And the reason is, no sooner will you find a unique way to bring something to market and start exploiting that, then others will see that and start replicating that.
Sure.
Your biggest differentiator is you. Brand you.
I like that. It's interesting you mentioned and I love your approach to that about like what they want to be known for. And it's one of the things that I love about podcasting, because to me, it is the fact that I always feel like I'm closer to people when I'm asking very intentional questions of them. And when you don't do that in normal everyday life, here I am asking very intentional questions of you. And it, once again, it brings that closeness and it brings that knowledge. That's the specific knowledge. That's, to me, it's what makes podcasting so interesting and, brings people closer. I truly love that. Is that like, I guess what I want to take a step further from that is, in podcasting, what's been that nugget that you've taken from podcasting or from another podcaster or from an interview that you have applied that's been the golden nugget, I guess you could say?
Sure. The golden nugget was taught to me by my friend Greg Wasserman. He's now over at rss.com. And he and I actually co-presented at the Higher Ed PodCon. What he taught me was, you are not a podcast. You are a brand. And as soon as he said that, the light bulb went on over my head. I knew exactly what he meant by it. And together, we composed a blog post, 22 ways to monetize your podcast, and one you should never do. And we developed some other resources around that as well. But ultimately, we wanted to instill in people who are producing podcasts that the value is not in the press record, stop record, and upload. The value is in everything you do before, during, of course, and after. Because that's where the difference between developing 15 episodes and quitting, or developing your persona, your business, and all of the things that come with it, come about.
That beautifully put. And it is a thing that far too few people, I think about from that. Like, it's a brand. It's not just noise that's coming out of your earbuds. It's a brand.
Yeah.
And, people associate with that. And, no, that is a great way to put that. How does podcasting fit? And I know this is not a 5-year question. But what is your vision that you have for the future of what you're doing, like with your business and with the podcasting portion of that? Like, where are you headed? What do you think the next steps are?
For me, it's more of the same and more. For
I like
me,
that.
there's the potential of building a network of sales related podcasts. I've had many a guest that have come on and said, "Oh, I love this." I said, "Great. Do you think you could do this?" Sure. Well, I couldn't commit to a lot. If I can line up 4 people that can commit to once a quarter sitting down and being the host, I've got a show.
Yeah.
If I can do that with 8 people, I've got 2 shows. And now I've got a platform that is salestv.live, and I have the opportunity to broadcast more than once a week. These broadcasts, by the way, are highly educational.
Very much
We
so.
drop them into the learning platform at the ISP, the Institute of Sales Professionals. In fact, Sales TV has recently partnered with the ISP, and we're developing shows specifically aligned to the ISP's training frameworks. So
That's awesome.
we're being intentional about the content that we're producing. Other next things, as I said, I'm just starting to discover the power of YouTube. And I've always known about content repurposing. For me, content repurposing was taking the video clip and stripping the audio out, and now it's a podcast too. But my son, who just recently graduated, did not seek a full-time job with an employer because he developed a YouTube channel of his own. And that has been his full-time job. And he's able to support himself well enough with that would be the same, if not even a little better, than had he taken an entry-level marketing job. And should he ever decide to go into marketing, on his resume, he can say, "You know what, I did this." And how many businesses could benefit from services like that? There are so many things coming. And I was talking with somebody here at Northeastern and saying we should have a podcast about their area of expertise within the university. And the pushback I got was, well, that market's saturated. I could not disagree more. That wasn't really your reason for not wanting to do it. Your reason for not wanting to do it was you were afraid. Totally get that. It's not easy. But saturated? Absolutely not. What's happening is we are consuming more and more content through a plethora of outlets. And it's not that my podcast is suffering because another podcast comes online. What's happening is broadcast television as we know it is losing its audience. And what's coming in place is those same broadcasts on demand, or we have niche content providers like podcasts like myself. There is more opportunity ahead than we've even had behind us, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
I agree. It's interesting. There's a podcaster that uses our studio that has an automotive shop, and he always says, he goes, "There's plenty of cars to work on." He goes, "We don't need to fight with our competitors." He goes, "There's plenty of cars to work on." And I feel the same way with podcasts and with how to put that content out there. And I love the piece that you said about like traditional media. Traditional media is in a decline right now, and it is because of all the on-demand stuff. I can watch and or listen to what I want to when I want to. And one of the advantages that podcasting has is the fact that I can listen to it while doing something else. It's tough to watch the game while mowing the lawn. I mean, you could probably do it. It would probably be damaging to some of your neighbor's shrubs. But you can listen to a podcast while you're mowing the lawn. You can get educated or entertained or whatever you want while you mow the lawn. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about it too. I'm glad that you've got foot on the gas, full steam ahead. Let's add more stuff to this. The big signature question that I always ask at the end is if you could give one piece of advice to someone that maybe they're thinking about a podcast, Maybe they're at a stumbling block in their podcast right now, and they're like, I don't know what I should be looking at or doing. What is the one big piece of advice that you have for anyone thinking about or doing a podcast?
Just do it is easy enough to say, but hard to get people to do.
Sure.
What I would say is this, though. Even when you do, just do it. If you are going to go with the interview format, know this: that show, that episode is not about you. The best hosts, much like yourself, come prepared and give the guest the space they need to shine. Remember, it's about knowing people for what they want to be known for. A great host will draw that out of them, even when maybe the guest is so close to the topic that they're having a hard time relating to your audience. That host can help them navigate that. And if you're worried about, I don't think I've got the chops for that just yet, you absolutely will with practice. And don't worry that nobody's listening to the first 15 episodes, because that's when you can hone those skills and continue to hone those skills and continue to develop and practice and find your voice. Just remember, it's not about you.
Beautifully said. I love that. I love how you talked about the first 15 episodes, because it's something that I tell, like the podcasting class that I teach. I'm like, look, no one's going to listen to the first 15 episodes except for your mom, and she's still going to love you anyways. Rob, this has been hugely educational. I mean, both on the podcast and sales side. I really appreciate the time today. We're going to have to do this again, and then we're probably going to see each other again at Higher Ed PodCon here in 2026. Once again, I really appreciate it. Thanks again. Where can people find you?
Easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn.
Love it. Simple, easy. We'll put all the information there. Once again, Rob, thanks, and we will talk to you soon. For everyone else out there, I'm going to be right back in just a few minutes. I need to gather my thoughts. There's a lot of things rolling around up here, and we'll go over the summary in just a minute. There was a lot of great sales information in there, and to me, there was a lot of great podcast information in there too, and that's really what I want to dive into. And I've got a couple of quick points, and then I'm going to spend some time really on this main point. First one, embrace pod fade. If you're just starting out, these 15 episodes, like I said, your mom's going to listen to those, and she's going to love you no matter what. So don't worry that they're not perfect. Just go ahead and start. Don't worry about saturated markets either. I mean, really, more and more people are coming to podcasting. More and more people are coming to watching things on YouTube. There's plenty of room. There is plenty of room for you to go out and make your content. Bunches of these people are coming over from traditional media outlets. We want stuff on demand. Our lives are on the go right now. We want the ability to watch or listen to what we want when we want it. We don't want to let someone else dictate what we're hearing and what we're seeing. It's human nature. Don't think it's saturated. We're more and more people are coming to this all the time. That being said, some of one of the big things that, like, your podcast is your brand, and this is something, like, he's a marketing professor. It's part of, so many people don't spend enough time looking at that piece of that. Like, it's not just a podcast. It is a huge, huge, huge piece of your brand. With that branding piece, it's and I love how he said the value is, and I'm reading my notes here to quote this: the value of a podcast isn't the simple act of recording and uploading. It is the entire process. It should be seen as a brand, a persona, and a platform. That's really powerful in how that works. I mean, when you think about it, there are so many components to it. Additionally, he talked about, like, the preparation and being a good interviewer. It's one of the things that I take a lot of pride in. And I make this analogy all the time. A podcast how your podcast turns out is largely dictated by the preparation that you put into it. How much time and effort do you put into researching your guest? How much time and effort do you put into structuring your topics? How much time and effort do you put in to making sure that this is going to connect with your audience? That's your brand. That's what it's all about. Additionally, we see so many podcasts where they focus on themselves and not the guest. I've had people in the studios before where literally they have talked 70 to 80% of the time. And it's like, why did you have a guest there? Be there. Be authentically curious. Wind yourself up for this. Be excited to hear what these people are going to say. They are giving you their time. Let them give you their story. Connect with them. Learn from them. From that, I love the piece that he said about when you let someone, they tell you how they want to be known, what they want to be known for, what they want to be known about. You get that greater connection with them, and they will reciprocate that connection in one way or another with you. It becomes that mutually beneficial relationship. Too many people think of podcasting as a one-way thing. This is like literally, it is a two-way thing. You're listening to this podcast right now because you're hoping to learn something about podcasting. You want your podcast to get better. Make sure that you're doing the same for your audience. Do something that lets them get better. And once again, it can be a combination of things. It can be educational. It can be entertainment. It can be multiple different things, but make sure that you add value to it. I'm just going to brush on this. We've talked about this in the last episode with Maureen Pasonic also. Content repurposing, it's almost a must anymore. It really is. Podcasting is such a great content engine. You've heard me go on and on ad nauseum about that. There's a reason why. It's a great thing for it. He also mentioned just do it. And I truly love that. Really do. I mean, just push record. You never know what you're going to get, what you're going to find. And if you put the prep work into it, it's going to turn out pretty good. The last thing that I want to talk about, and this is probably the biggest thing, the business impact of podcasting. When in the middle of the episode, as we're talking about this, I'm kind of like, where are we at with this? How are we talking about this? And I don't want to say I was a bit confused or a bit like, how was this effective? But it really, as I sat down and thought about this later, he said that the biggest differentiator is the brand is you. And that to me was just huge. It took me back to the podcast way back. I mean, I believe the second one that we did with the new format of Nicholas Comstock. He's developmentally disabled. Has caretakers. And he said, as plain as day, that other people may have your topic, but no one has your voice. And to me, I absolutely loved that because it really is 100% true. Someone out there will connect with you specifically. There could be multiple people talking about your topic, but someone out there will connect with you specifically. Someone's going to like you. There's 8 billion people on the planet. A few of them are going to like you. Probably a lot of them are going to like you. Make sure that you are getting out there for the right reasons. Make sure that more and more people every day know who you are and what you do. And podcasting is a great way to do that. There's something else. There's another piece to this that I truly loved about podcasting as a platform. Would you rather spend 15 minutes recording a podcast? And let's say you spent half an hour setting it up, half an hour setting up the podcast, half an hour editing it, 15 minutes recording the podcast. You're an hour and 15 minutes in. Would you rather record that podcast or would you rather take that same amount of time and just make cold calls? There is a big difference between the two. That I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm going to answer with, and I'm pretty sure I know which one most of you are going to answer with. to me, that was a big moment when I started to look at things that way and I started to hear that way. With all that being said, this was truly enjoyable. I truly am grateful for the fact that we get to have this podcast and I get to talk to people like Rob. Definitely makes my day. With all that, go out, subscribe. Let me know who we should be talking to next. Let me also know, give us the review. Send this to a friend if you're willing. And as always, do me a favor. Take care of yourself. You can't take care of someone else too. I will see you very, very soon.